So the question which many people pose is, are we actually going to give the developing countries leading edge technologies? Can we do this? Does it work? Is it appropriate? Bjorn, you're in this area. Perhaps you can try that one. Tell us a little bit about your experience, what ITT is doing, and does it work? Can innovation help development?
Thank you, David. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? So, from ITT's perspective, first of all, we are a global leader in water technologies, providing a lot of, the basic products that you need for water treatment, pumping, treatment plants, and desalination, disinfection, and so forth. So, we're operating in 140 countries, and that takes me into my answer to David. If you're operating in 140 countries, you are operating in 80 less rich countries, and that means that you're facing the challenges of the emerging markets or the developing countries. I am, from my perspective, I'm the director of philanthropy for ITT, and I'm running a foundation. And in my work, I look upon innovation with a little bit different eyes. And I think that the challenge, especially the one that was given to us on the opening evening, and you realize that 90% of all the population growth will happen in the developing countries. To that you need then to look at what are the opportunities for us to use the technologies that we're talking about here. And it's not that big. We got to innovate very, very differently. And we got to look at the small towns, not the big towns, because that's where everything is going to happen. So when we talk about future cities, we need to realize the future cities is the future towns. The small towns, around the 500,000 people. That's also the challenge for all of us. How do we make that happen? But this is an opportunity. Here we are talking a lot about innovation, technology innovation. We're a lot of engineers here. But the biggest challenge I see is the social side of it. It is actually, how do you provide the technologies that we have? How do you apply those to the people? And that is not as easy as we think it is. When we say we can provide you with clean water, for us that's obvious, yes, we want that. It's not obvious at all when you get to go down to southern parts of Kolkata, or you go out to in Honduras or Guatemala or some of those. This is not immediate translate into a need, an understood need. So we have a lot of work that we need to understand before we can actually provide the support and reach the Millennium Goals that is set out for us. And the other thing that I just want to mention about that is that we need new metrics. The metrics that we have are not the right ones. We need to get much more closer to the consumption. When I'm drinking the water, that's when you need to measure it, not anything else. Because you got to follow the whole step before you can. It doesn't matter if the tap is clean. There's a lot of things happening in between. So we need to look at those things. We need to also to look at what is it toilets that we're looking for, or is it really wastewater treatment or waste treatment? You got to look at waste treatment. So those are things that will help us to innovate as well and be very, very innovative. It's urgent. It is very urgent. And we don't have the solutions today. The only other thing I can say about that is that the normal innovation, it takes about 10 to 15, even 20 years to establish a new innovation, a new product. So we got to look at, do we have the products today? Are we innovating the products that will be the solution 20 years from now? Do we even know what that looks like? And when you look at the posters, that's really where you can see where our thoughts are. And the poster sessions out here, I recommend everyone to take a look to see where we are. Take that as a better, a benchmark of where we are, and think about, are we really where we should be in 20 years? So, thank you.
Thanks very much, Bjorn. Now, so where there's hope, we have innovation, and despite what Bjorn, I still believe we can innovate harder, faster, and we have solutions. We've got to do a lot more. But we have a compounding factor. This compounding factor are natural disasters. Now, these are going to be major changes in climate, and despite the fact that we have good regulators in some areas, we have not yet developed suitable regulations or management of carbon and also the accompanying impacts. However, some natural disasters go beyond this, and Pedro, you've had a lot of experience with dealing with some of these. In particular, you had a major earthquake recently, which not only were you appeared to be prepared, you recovered very quickly. How do you build resilience into these systems to make them work and continue working?